Okay, this is now the 5 minute tarot for the 28th of May 2017. And this is kind of part three of a Celtic Cross series, because 2 days ago we began with the question is, how can this person improve his financial situation? And the first two cards were the Seven of Cups reversed and opposed by the Eight of Swords. We looked at that a couple of days ago. Yesterday we looked at the foundation, the Wheel of Fortune, and the influence it's passing away, which is the Fool. So today we're going to look at the next two cards, what may come, the Queen of Cups reversed, and what will come, the Magician. And I told you yesterday that about these two cards for today to give you time to think about it. Okay, so what may come, and if we remind ourselves that the question is, what can this person do to improve his financial situation? So there may be a woman comes into the picture. The Queen can represent another person who probably ought to be avoided because the Queen is upside down, or it can represent the questioner and tell him not to behave in a certain way because it's the Queen reversed. And we'll get to what actual behavior we're talking about. So what may come is the Queen. So let's say it's a woman, but it's upside down. So basically watch out. Partly because the Queen of Cups can be manipulative and deceptive, and she can promise a lot, but then you have to be careful probably with the Queen of Cups, because she can be manipulative and emotionally demanding. And if the questioner follows this reverse Queen of Cups, because it's what may come, so he has a choice when it comes to her. She can suggest certain things, but he doesn't have to follow through. So if he follows her lead or responds to her suggestions or does what she says, he's going to get off track. So he's better to not follow. This can be like a warning to him, or he's warning himself. Don't get taken off track by this woman who promises a lot but is never going to deliver, or who promises a nice outcome, but the way you're going to get that outcome is not what she says. She's going to manipulate you. She's going to deceive you. She's going to tell you things that aren't actually true. And it's a good idea, because the Queen is reversed, it's a good idea to avoid her. Or you can agree, yes, I'll do it, and then walk away. And because it's cups, we can say that she's going to use guilt to get the questioner to act in a certain way that isn't right in some way. And I'm saying that because the card is upside down. Or if he's motivated by a feeling of guilt that he has to do this, otherwise he's going to feel bad, she's going to guilt trip him, an expression in English, into behaving in a certain way that's going to be bad for him. It's not going to be right in some kind of a way, and it's going to lead to problems. So it may be a get-rich-quick scheme that isn't going to make him rich. Or in an extreme case, it could be some kind of criminal activity or criminal act that she has in mind. So if she says, let's rob a bank, because you want to improve your financial situation. If suddenly you had $10 million from a bank raid, your financial situation would be better off, but it's not going to work. You're going to get caught, or it's going to lead to problems. So something criminal or something that involves illegal activity is not the right way for this questioner to go. But don't be surprised if somebody suggests kind of barely legal means of improving his financial situation. And at the same time, if this Queen represents him, then he's not supposed to be like her and try to talk other people into dubious schemes. So don't try and get people to do what they don't want to do. So don't manipulate other people as she might manipulate you. Because if you have to manipulate people or control them by fear, then you have to use a lot of time and energy keeping them on track or keeping them under control. And if you stop for a minute, they're going to slip back and they're going to undo what they've been doing, or they're going to go back to their own ways and ignore you. They're going to stop doing what you want them to do, and you're going to have a mess to clear up or a problem, or else they're going to undermine you or undermine what you set up. So maybe we ought to remind the questioner that he has been the fool. Even though the fool was upright, it still can show rash, not very intelligent actions and behavior. So remember that you have been, and because of the influence that's passing away, you are to some extent the fool. So there's a difference between taking a risk that has been thought through and you figure out the odds, and the odds are, maybe there's a little bit of risk, but it can work, and just being foolhardy and being outrageously stupid and trusting completely to luck. That's not going to work. Okay, so that's what may come, and you have a choice with the card in that 5th position, because if you like it, you can take it. If you don't want it, you don't have to have it. But with the 6th card, this is what will come. It's what you're going to go through, whether you like it or not. And the questioner has the Magician. So the Magician is, this looks good. This is something you can always, you turn a card and you say to yourself, do I like this or do I not like it? If you like it, explain to the questioner why you like it. And in doing so, you're going to talk about the meaning of the card and what it points to and what it promises. Whereas if you don't like it, explain why not. And the questioner is going to be better informed about why this might be a risky maneuver, for instance. So I would say I like the Magician partly because it's number 1 and he's looking for a new beginning or a fresh start or some way to improve his financial situation. And it seems to me the Magician is a promise of good things being possible in the immediate future. It's what's coming up next, because it's number 1 for a new beginning. So this could be he gets a new job, or he gets a job, or he gets a change in the type of job that a change is offered. To give him a start in a new type of job that pays better, let's say, or that has better prospects. So it could be a new opportunity. I mean, I think we have to remember the wheel is the foundation card. So the wheel is going to turn and is going to take stuff away, but it's also going to bring new experiences into this fellow's life. So I'm thinking, let's say, a few days ago, we did a question about a teacher. So let's say if this person is a teacher, so the Magician thinking about the Wheel of Fortune, it could be that he's given the chance to become the head of the department. Or maybe he's got a degree in mathematics and he gets the opportunity to switch from being a mathematics teacher to working in a bank, which you might think is odd, but I know one fellow who got a degree in mathematics and then he went to work for a bank, the Royal Bank of Canada, and he does their research department work because it's all mathematical models. So you might think, okay, you can teach mathematics and that's all you can do, but there's all sorts of scope for people with mathematical ability. So this Magician could be that he would switch from one type of career into another one that's more lucrative, that pays better or has better prospects. And because the Magician can be a card of communication, maybe he gets a chance or somebody invites him to write a textbook. I'm thinking again of a teacher. Maybe somebody says, okay, we need a textbook for this particular class. Will you write it? Or maybe he's going to write a manual for a website in the area that he's already experienced in. Right? Or maybe it's just, he's going to get the chance to write a book or do some form of communication. So maybe he's going to start giving talks or give a series of talks or be hired as a coach or a mentor to other people, and that develops into a business or develops into something as well. Or maybe somebody gets him to put material together for an online course. So this magician, again, it's hard when you don't know what the person actually does for a living. But we would give the questioner various possibilities, and then he's going to get an idea of the type of situation that's coming up, and he can do something with that information, and he knows whether he always wanted to give talks, let's say. So he begins to look for opportunities where he can do public speaking, let's say, or he can be in a public position where he communicates whatever it happens to be. Or maybe a friend of his works in an advertising agency, and they're talking about a project the fellow's working on, and he gets stuck, and the person asking the question mentions a few ideas and realizes that he's got a gift for coming up with advertising slogans, for instance. So what the reader does is we paint a picture of what kind of experience to expect. We don't need to outline the exact details. So we're going to tell the fellow with the magician coming up, there are going to be new beginnings, or there is going to be a new beginning. And it probably is going to involve communication because it's the magician. Whereas if it had been the Three of Swords in the future, then there are going to be disappointments in the immediate future. So you have to be patient. The questioner has to be patient. And because he wants to know about improving his financial situation, with the Three of Swords in the future, maybe we say, first you've got to economize. There isn't, because if you suddenly had double your income, you would end up spending twice as much. So your problem is not that you need more income. Your problem first is you've got to spend less. Okay, that's a couple of things about what may come and what will come. So your homework, so to speak. Tomorrow we're going to look at card 7, which is the present position, and the questioner got the Empress reversed. And then the 8th position is the influence of other people, and he got the Page of Swords reversed. So that's something for you to think. So in the light of the 6 cards that we've got so far, what would you say, or what might you say to the questioner about the Empress reversed for the present position and the influence of other people, the Page of Swords reversed? That was it. See you tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.